Hello students, I am Dr. Kushnoda Parveen, Assistant Professor, Department of Anatomy, GMC Betia. Today I am going to discuss about midbrain. The midbrain is most rostral part of the brainstem. It is the shortest segment of the brainstem, being not more than 2 cm in length. It connects the diencephalon and cerebrum to the pons. Most of it lies in the posterior cranial fossa, with its upper part passing through the tentorial notch. See in this diagram, this is midbrain. This part is midbrain, which connect diencephalon and cerebrum with the pons. This is pons. This part is midbrain, which is about 2 cm in length. For convenience of description, midbrain is divided into tectum and cerebral peduncle by a transverse line drawn through the cerebral aqueduct. Tectum. This part is lying behind the transverse line drawn through the cerebral aqueduct. It consists of pretectal area and corpora quadrigemina. Corpora means body and quadrigemina means 4 parts. That is, corpora quadrigemina is paired superior and inferior colliculi. Cerebral peduncle. This part is lying in front of the transverse line. It is made up of right and left half. Each peduncle consists of 3 parts from anterior to posterior side. These are crus cerebri, or it also known as basis pedunculi. Then second one is substantia nigra and third one is tegmentum. Cerebral aqueduct. It is about 1.8 cm long. It traverses the midbrain. It is surrounded by a layer of grey matter called central or periaqueductal grey matter. Contain no choroid plexus. It transmits CSF from third to fourth ventricle. See in this diagram, this cavity, this tube-like structure is known as cerebral aqueduct or aqueduct of Sylvius, which traverses midbrain. It connects third ventricle to the fourth ventricle. Here no choroid plexus. See in this diagram, here is choroid plexus and here is choroid plexus. That is in lateral ventricle and fourth ventricle. Crura cerebri are superficially corrugated and emerge from cerebral hemispheres. They converge as they descend and meet as they enter the pons, where they form the caudolateral boundary of the interpeduncular fossa. On ventral surface are seen the base of peduncles, or called crura, which lie in a V-shaped manner cranial to the pons, enclosing posterior perforated substance of diencephalon between them. In this diagram, this is crus cerebri or crura cerebri. It encloses interpeduncular fossa. This part is known as interpeduncular fossa. This crus cerebri form the caudolateral boundary. This is optic tract which form the rostrolateral boundary. Here is V-shaped area. In this area there is posterior perforated substance, which is a part of diencephalon. Here is anterior perforated substance. Corpora quadrigemina. Dorsally the midbrain show 2 pairs of low rounded eminence, that is superior and inferior colliculi. See in this diagram, superior colliculi and inferior colliculi. These two pairs are known as corpora quadrigemina. The superior colliculi lie below the pineal gland. It lies below the pineal gland and splenium of the corpus callosum, overlapped by pulvinar of the thalamus. Lateral to each superior colliculus is lateral geniculate body, which, although appear to belong to the brainstem, is a part of thalamus. Here is lateral geniculate body, which is a part of thalamus. Here is medial geniculate body. This is also a part of thalamus, although it appears to be present in the brainstem. See in previous slide. This is corpus callosum. The part of corpus callosum, posterior part of the corpus callosum, is called splenium. This is splenium. This is pineal gland. Here is superior colliculus. So superior colliculus lie behind the splenium and pineal gland. Below the inferior colliculi, the superior cerebellar peduncle converges into the dorsal surface of midbrain from cerebellum. See in this diagram, this is cerebellum and this is superior cerebellar peduncle which connect cerebellum with the midbrain. It lies below the inferior colliculi. Here is superior cerebellum, here is middle cerebellar peduncle, and here is inferior cerebellar peduncle. These three peduncles connect the cerebellum to the brain stems. Each colliculi is related laterally to a ridge called brachium. Here is lateral ridge, this is known as brachium, superior brachium and inferior brachium. The superior brachium are also called as superior quadrigeminal brachium or brachium of superior colliculus, connects the superior colliculus to the lateral geniculate body. See, here is the lateral geniculate body and here is the medial geniculate body. Inferior brachium, also called inferior quadrigeminal brachium or brachium of inferior colliculus, connect the inferior colliculus to the medial geniculate body. It's connect to the medial geniculate body. Just below the colliculi, there is the uppermost part of a membrane called superior medullary velum, which stretches between the two superior cerebellar peduncle and help to form the roof of the fourth ventricle. In this diagram, this is superior part of the superior medullary velum which stretch between superior cerebellar peduncle. It forms the roof of the fourth ventricle. Cranial nerves, which are emerges from the midbrains, are third and fourth cranial nerve. They leave the brain stem at the midbrain. The oculomotor nerve leave the medial surface of the crus on the ventral surface of the midbrain. See in this diagram, this is crus, this ventral part of the midbrain. Here third nerve emerges. It passes forward between the posterior cerebral artery. This artery is posterior cerebral artery and this is superior cerebellar artery. It passes between these two arteries into the interpeduncular cistern. Cistern means it is a pocket of space in the subarachnoid space to reach the roof of the cavernous sinus. The trochlear nerve leave the dorsal surface. Third nerve leave ventral surface and trochlear nerve leave dorsal surface of the midbrain just below the inferior colliculi. See in this diagram. Here yellow colored nerve is shown below the inferior colliculi. This is trochlear nerve. Trochlear emerges from the velum and then wind round the side of the midbrain to reach its ventral aspect. This nerve is unique in three respects. It is the smallest cranial nerve. It is only nerve which emerges from the dorsal aspect of the brain stem. It decussate within the brain stem. The nerve curls round the lateral side of the peduncle and passes forward between the same two arteries as the third nerve, that is posterior cerebral and superior cerebellar artery, but further laterally to reach the roof of the cavernous sinus. Internal structure of midbrain. Internal structure of midbrain is studied by transverse section at two levels, at the level of inferior colliculus and at the level of superior colliculus. The structure at the level of inferior colliculus. The crus cerebri consists of a large mass of vertically running fibers. These fibers descend from the cerebral cortex. Some of these passes through the midbrain to reach the pons, while other reaches the spinal cord. Each crus contains corticospinal, corticonuclear and corticopontine fibers. Corticospinal and corticonuclear fibers occupy the middle two-thirds of the crus. The medial sixth of the crus is occupied by frontopontine fibers and lateral sixth by the temporopontine and occipitopontine fibers. See in this diagram, this is crus cerebri. This is crus cerebri. It is middle 2/3 is occupied by corticonuclear and corticospinal fibers. Medial part containing frontopontine, lateral part containing peritopontine, occipitopontine and temporopontine fibers. Substantia nigra. Substantia nigra is made up of pigmented grey matter due to neuromelanin pigment and is therefore appear dark in color. Substantia nigra is divisible into dorsal part known as pars compacta and a ventral part known as pars reticularis. See in the previous diagram, this is crus cerebri, this is substantia nigra and this part is tegmentum. The dorsal part behind this is cerebral aqueduct. The dorsal part behind the cerebral aqueduct is tectum. Okay, this part is substantia nigra. So, substantia nigra is divisible into dorsal part known as pars compacta and ventral part known as pars reticularis. The pars compacta contain dopaminergic and cholinergic neurons. Most of the neurons in the pars reticularis are GABAergic. Superiorly, the pars reticularis become continuous with the globus pallidus. It is substantia nigra is structurally present in the midbrain, but it is functionally related with the basal ganglia. The main connections are the striatum, the caudate nucleus and putamen. Dopamine produced by the neuron in the substantia nigra, that is pars compacta parts, passes along the axon to the striatum. Dopamine is much reduced in the patient with disease known as Parkinsonism, in which there is a degeneration of the striatum. Along with other group of dopaminergic neurons present in the ventral part of the tegmentum, the substantia nigra is believed to be a neural center for adaptive behaviors. Efferent of these systems is widely distributed. Tegmentum. Tegmentum is continuous with that found in the pons by the same name. It is important to note that unlike crus cerebri, the tegmentum is continuous in the midline. The midbrain is traversed by cerebral aqueduct which is surrounded by the central grey matter. Ventrally, within this grey matter lie the mesencephalic nucleus of the trigeminal nerve as well as trochlear nucleus with its fiber continuing around the grey matter to exit the midbrain. This structure is present at the level of inferior colliculus. Anterior to this, the medial longitudinal fasciculus can be seen. The region between substantia nigra and central grey matter is occupied by the reticular formation. Trochlear nerve proceeds dorsally and crosses the midline where it dissociates with its fellow dorsal to the aqueduct. It emerges through the superior medullary velum on the dorsal aspect of the midbrain below the inferior colliculus. See in this diagram. Here is trochlear nerve nucleus. The nerve emerges dorsally after decussation. The mesencephalic nucleus of the trigeminal nerve lie in the central grey matter lateral to the aqueduct. Here is the mesencephalic nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. This long slender nucleus receives proprioceptive fibers from the muscle supplied by mandibular branch of the trigeminal nerve, that is muscles of mastication, and from the muscles of orbit and face. It is unique in being a collection of first order neurons buried in the central nervous system. Sensory neurons, first order sensory neurons having a body and a peripheral process and central process. The body of the sensory neurons lie outside brain, but this is exception. This mesencephalic nucleus is exception. It is first order neuron is buried inside the brainstem. This nucleus is accompanied by mesencephalic tract which descends to the upper pons. The lower part of tegmentum is traversed by a large number of fibers that crosses the midline from one side to the other. See here, this is crossing of the fibers. These are fibers of the superior cerebellar peduncle that have their origin in the cerebellum and decussate before ending in the red nucleus of the some other centers. This decussation of the fibers arises from the cerebellum. It crosses to the opposite side to end in the red nucleus. Tectum or roof of the midbrain is formed by two pairs of colliculi and the corpora quadrigemina. The inferior colliculus are involved in the auditory reflex and in determining the side on which the sound originates. The inferior colliculi receive input from both ears and they project to the medial geniculate nucleus of the thalamus by way of inferior quadrigeminal brachium. Lateral lemniscus travel rostrally towards the inferior colliculus and then project to the medial geniculate body. Because some ascending axons cross and others do not cross at each of these sides, inferior colliculi and medial geniculate body each receive impulse derived from both ears. From the medial geniculate body, the thalamic auditory relay, third order neuron, project to the primary auditory cortex in the upper and middle part of the superior temporal gyrus. Internal structure of the midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. Much of internal structure of midbrain is unchanged at this level and should be assumed present unless mentioned below. In crus cerebri, there is no changes. Substantia nigra is the same. Some changes occur in the tectum and tegmentum. The tegmentum of two sides is continuous across the midline. It contains important masses of grey matter as well as fiber bundles. The largest of the nuclei is the red nucleus present in the upper half of the midbrain. The tegmentum also contains reticular formation which is continuous below with that of pons and the medulla. See in this diagram, here is the red nucleus. Here is crossing of fibers which arises from the cerebellum. The red nucleus lie in the tegmentum just ventral to the third nerve nucleus. Just ventral to the third nerve nucleus. It is slightly larger than the full size pea. It receives fibers coming from the dentate nucleus in the opposite cerebellar hemisphere via the superior cerebellar peduncle. Its efferent fiber decussate and descend to the motor nuclei of the cranial and spinal nerves as they are part of the extrapyramidal systems. Oculomotor nucleus lie close against the midline ventral to the aqueduct at the superior colliculus level, in the line vertically with those of cranial somatic motor nuclei of the 4th, 6th and 12th. See in this diagram. Here is the third cranial nerve nucleus. This is third cranial nerve which emerges ventrally. This is third cranial nerve which emerges. Here is the red nucleus. This is medial longitudinal fasciculus. This is medial longitudinal fasciculus. Again, this is the mesencephalic nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. This is aqueduct of the Sylvius. Parasympathetic part of the oculomotor nerve is Edinger-Westphal or accessory oculomotor nucleus lie near the midline in the cranial part of the nucleus. Its axons run out with the third nerve and relay in the ciliary ganglion, from which postganglionic fibers innervate sphincter pupillae and ciliary muscles. The third nerve passes ventrally through the red nucleus to emerge from the brain stem on the medial side of the base of the peduncle. The spinal lemniscus and medial lemniscus, which are ascending sensory tracts, lie in the lateral part of the tegmentum. Between the medial lemniscus and central grey matter, The tegmentum contains fragments of grey matter broken up into criss-cross bundle of white fibers. The network appearance produced give it the name reticular formation. It is traceable throughout the pons and medulla in the upper spinal cord. Here is the medial geniculate body, you can see here. Here is medial lemniscus. Here is the medial lemniscus, here is spinal lemniscus. Both are the sensory tracts. Medial lemniscus arises from the gracile and cuneate nucleus, and spinal lemniscus are the fibers of spinothalamic tract. Tectum. The superior colliculus contains cell involved in the general light reflex. As inferior colliculus involved in the auditory reflex, superior colliculus involved in the light reflex. They receive input from the retina and project to the motor nuclei of the cranial and spinal nerve via tectobulbar and tectospinal tract for reflex movement of eye, head, body and limb away from or towards the light and sound stimuli. Pupillary light reflex involve the pretectal nuclei which lie just cranial to the superior colliculi at the junction of the midbrain and the diencephalon. The superior quadrigeminal brachium link the lateral geniculate nucleus and superior colliculus. The colliculi contribute to the formation of crossed tectospinal tract which involve in the blinking and head turning reflex after sudden sound or visual image. Periaqueductal grey matter. The periaqueductal grey matter contains descending autonomic tracts as well as endorphin producing cells that suppress pain. This region has been used as a target for brain stimulating implant in the patient with chronic pain. Superior cerebellar peduncle. The superior cerebellar peduncle contains efferent fibers from the dentate nucleus of the cerebellum to the opposite red nucleus, that the dento-rubro-thalamic system, and the ventral spinocerebellar tract. The cerebellar fiber decussate just below the red nucleus. In this diagram, this is the cross section at the level of superior colliculus. You see here the superior colliculus, here aqueduct of the sylvius, here is the nucleus of the trigeminal nerve, here is oculomotor nucleus. Ventral to the oculomotor is the medial longitudinal bundle. Here is red nucleus and decussation of the fibers. It is tectospinal decussation. Here is medial lemniscus, here is spinal lemniscus, this is medial geniculate body. And this is substantia nigra, this is crus cerebri. This is third cranial nerve. Blood supply of the midbrain. Midbrain is supplied by the posterior cerebral and superior cerebellar artery as they curl around the cerebral peduncle. See in this diagram, these two arteries supply the midbrain, superior cerebellar and posterior cerebral artery. The vein drains for the most part of into the basal vein as it passes round the peduncle. From the colliculi, some blood enters the great cerebral vein. So in this diagram, the area distributed which supplied by the arteries. This area is supplied by the posterior cerebral artery. This area is supplied by the superior cerebellar artery. The peduncular branch of the posterior cerebral artery and posterior choroidal artery. Some parts is supplied by the posterior choroidal artery. Clinical anatomy. Peduncular syndrome, or also called as alternating oculomotor hemiplegia, and Weber syndrome in the basal midbrain. Involve third nerve and portion of the cerebral peduncle. There is third nerve palsy on the side of the lesion because it is lower motor neuron palsy, and contralateral hemiparesis because lesion is above the pyramidal decussation. The arterial supply is by the posterior perforators and branch of posterior cerebral artery. It is peduncular syndrome, or also called as alternating oculomotor hemiplegia, because hemiplegia of the opposite side, and oculomotor palsy of the same side. That's why it is known as alternating oculomotor hemiplegia, or it is also called as Weber syndrome. One other syndrome is present which is known as Benedict syndrome, situated in the tegmentum of midbrain, may damage the medial lemniscus, the red nucleus, the third nerve, and the nucleus of associated tract. This area is supplied by perforators and branches of circumferential arteries. Thank you.